behind, and it's no promise that we gon' never actually be equal, to be honest. It's messed up how they put us in chains, kidnapped our language and changed our names. But when we speak Ebonics, then they call it a shame. They leave us with a couple options, rob or slang, now we locked up again. How much can our skin take? We went from slaves to inmates, carrying the weight of the 50 states. Working your forms, black nannies carrying white babies in their arms. Black men sacrifice their lives in your wars, but you don't never show appreciation here at home. You treat us so damn wrong, you act like you hate my race. The police, they just beat us in the streets like an 808 bass. America, when will you defend my case? You never will, cause your freedom is fake. I'm only living here cause I wanna get paid enough to round up on my family and shake. Get up, 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 get up.
They done tore down all the PJs in my barrio. Gang units for worst case scenarios. Might work, still a couple of quirks. Can't call it pancakes cause you're poor and syrup. It's a whole lot bigger than a pretty new house, especially when the rodent's still running about. P. Diddy running marathons, races though. That's going to the school where the tax money go. Homeland Security, now there's a phenomenon. Pacifying folks by hanging Saddam. Troops still riding, still obliging, still no Bin Laden. Tuned in, waiting for the president's announcements. No 40 acres, take these 40 ounces. We ain't gonna get on the levees. Revolution televised early. Is you ready?
Why you wanna treat me so cold, America? I done gave you all that I own, America. Took me from my mama so young, America. Locked me up and gave me your name.
Steady being forced to climb and shit and have your back, have you beat and lost your mind. Especially when you done been down for so much time. Getting up don't even really ever cross your mind. You got pawn shop, gun shop, liquor store sign, SWAT team, crack fiend, unemployed line. Stay late, dollar short, trying to buy time. What we do to survive is defined as a life of crime. You can't ball, then you forced to grind. If you fall, then you cross the line. And I've been putting in work from 9 to 5 and 5 to 9. Since phone calls cost a dime. What it made me is one of the relevant, highly intelligent brothers, not only dealing with that same drug selling. If I'm a hustler, then what's more American? We all founded on the same thug heritage.
Why you wanna treat me so cold, America? I done gave you all that I own, America. Took me from my mama so young, America. Locked me up and gave me your name.
America, 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 you know the Black Freedom Movement, constitutional, moral conscience. You know we've been trying to redeem the soul of the nation, even as that nation is trying to render us soulless. But we are our soulful people, the blues people. We've been keeping alive the bloodstained banner of democracy. Thank God for those who came before. We shall never forget them and always move forward with grace and dignity.
America, why you wanna treat me so cold, America? I done gave you all that I own, America. Took me from my mama so young, America. Locked me up and gave me your name, America. Why you wanna treat me so cold, America? I done gave you all that I own, America. Took me from my mama so young, America. Locked me up and gave me your name.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you so very much for this very powerful show that we're going to be doing for you today as we lay out before you. We're waiting on our host to come in. Well, she's here, Dr. Lee. But before we get to Dr. Lee and introduce Dr. Lee, because this is the Dr. Lee Show, ladies and gentlemen. And my name is James Cannon, and I am co-hosting along with her today. And I appreciate her so very much because of the corrals of people that she's been able to bring together and bring to us week after week, ladies and gentlemen. And I really want to be able to encourage you to start listening, ladies and gentlemen. Some incredible information, the type of information that it don't hit you until 3 weeks later of what you actually heard. It don't hit you, ladies and gentlemen, the people that Dr. Lee is going to bring before you week after week, and to bring great information. And right now, because we're looking at 400 years of greatness, we're bringing a great amount of people before you week after week to share on 400 years of greatness. One of them is a powerful young man by the name of Dr. Greg Tatum out of the city of Bakersfield, ladies and gentlemen. I had the privilege of getting to know this gentleman. And as I've seen great integrity and love for our people, ladies and gentlemen. And so with great joy in my heart do I bring to the table to this conversation along with Dr. Lee today is Dr. Greg Tatum. And we appreciate you so much, sir, for everything that you're doing in the community, for everything that you're doing for 400 years. And and I think Dr. Tatum then. Dr. Tatum, are you present with us?
Yes. How you doing there, Bishop? I call him Bishop because he's a man of God. So, Bishop Cannon, thank you so much. And I appreciate everything what you're saying. And as we're waiting for Dr. Lee, we know this is about the HR 1242. Can you explain to them what that is about, Mr. Cannon?
Well, I think the executive assistant of our incredible is going to be coming on, Miss Annetta. I think she's going to share some things on the HR 1242. But Dr. Tatum, just in my few minutes that I wanted to talk to or just throw out on the table is the sad video that we've seen across the country that's went viral of a young man whose life was snuffed out before us. That was an incredible video for me to see, sir. How about you?
Yeah, we are pretty sad to see how things have not changed. We're in the 21st century. We're in a COVID situation. Should be thinking about a pandemic, but we're still dealing with the racist biases and implicit and explicit biases towards African American people. That's the reason I think this 400 years of entrepreneurship and 400 years of due process and 400 years of greatness is so needed, Mr. Cannon.
Absolutely, and what you were doing with the 400 years of due process in your show is so in line with this, and I don't want to put in a shameless plug for 400 years of due process with Dr. Tatum, which is a powerful, powerful brand in a format that you will be seeing more and more as we re-jumpstart, and I'm so excited about that. But, sir, the shameless plug would be for Legal Shield, which is a organization that allows you to have an attorney 24/7 with an emergency button on that app so that if you ever stop by the police, ever get in an embarrassing situation, you will be able to get an attorney on the line immediately, which is so valuable, ladies and gentlemen, for a $35 membership at any time, even to set up your corporation for a $35 membership, ladies and gentlemen, even to be able to look over contracts so you don't have to sign contracts without getting an attorney to look over it. As the rich folks say, let my attorney handle it, send that to my attorney, and to be able to have letters written for you with an attorney that will represent you, that's powerful, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that's the way in this new era of doing business. If a young man could say, I have my attorney on the line and I got my video camera running, so please don't shoot. I'm not going to run. I don't have to run. We don't have to run, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have to act like we used to. We have tools, and now we have a voice. And to be able to have a voice powerful like this on shows like this all across the country, I think we're marching in the right direction, y'all. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, or Dr. Tatum, I think you're going to bring on Miss Annetta to share on 400 years. But that's what I want to say. 400 years of greatness, 400 years of due process. Let's legal up, y'all. at least you can stop and get wise counsel so you don't have to take off running for your life. And if you got a video camera, then cut it on, because they don't want the world to see them act a fool on camera. So we got to use these tools, cut that video camera on, and get Legal Shield, y'all.
Amen. Thank you there, Brother Cannon. So right now we're going to be hearing from Annetta Jabari. She is going to talk to us about the 400 Years Commission and some other exciting things. Annetta Jabari.
Yes, hi, good evening. Am I live?
Yes, you're live.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Cannon, Dr. Tatum. And most of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Lee, for giving us such a beautiful opportunity with a beautiful show that's growing weekly. And we thank you so much for all the energy that you've allowed to share with so many platforms. But I'd like to expound upon the platform that brings us all together with the nucleus for the incredible 400-year campaign. The campaign is designed to bring about different exposures for, like, for instance, this entrepreneurial network that we're creating with the NCI, the Neighborhood Commerce Institute. Dr. Lee has merged with us to help strengthen our grip with the vision that James Cannon has given us all an opportunity to collaborate with through the incredible 400 years. It is an organization. It's available for organizations to tap in and to become ambassadors for our mission with the incredible 400-year campaign, support the initiative and the legislative bill for H.R. 1242, which is a legislative bill implemented through the commission there in Washington, D.C. to cover our national exposure to celebrate African-American history. So Nick Cannon has embraced this opportunity. His father presented it to him. He heeded the call, and he became the ambassador and the chairman for our national exposure, which is to allow us to start speaking on the 400 years past. And with all that is happening in our lives today, there is so much that we still have yet to harness. But this is an opportunity for us all, each and every one of you, to participate and to go online. The show is not specifically directed to our mission tonight with the incredible 400 years, but it is a collaborative. So if you would please jot down incredible, that's with an N, NCREDIBLE 400, the number 400years.com. Again, that's incredible 400years.com. Please log on to our website, take a peek at what we've got to help to celebrate our African-American history. And Nick's responsibility and commitment to us all is to write a new history. So the 400 years that we've been here in the United States here, we now want to create a better and a more beneficial history over the next 400 years. So do your part to help support that mission. And again, it's incredible400years.com. If you'd like to call in, we have a phone number, 833-400-YEAR, and you can put the S there for the years, but it's in 833-400-YEARS or 9327. So please feel free to call in. That number is also accessible to text. And again, that's 833-400-9327. And if you forget that, just remember that 400 years, and it's 833. I just wanted to take and make sure that everyone knows we want your feedback. You could leave us a voicemail, text message, or you're very, very welcome to leave us an email. We'll get back to you at info@incredible400years.com. There's many, many ways that you can support and help us. We are reaching out to each and every one of you. So please make sure you do that. We've done a collaborative with NCI, which is the Neighborhood Commerce Institute, which is the organization that Dr. Mary Lee has established. And the CEO there, Jason, has been able to take and pull and mesh our companies together to create a nucleus within our communities. NCI is an opportunity for all businesses, an opportunity for entrepreneurs to come together and strengthen the grip and recycle our dollars within our own community, something that has been stripped from us. And NCI, Neighborhood Commerce for Good, it allows our dollars and our money and our businesses to circulate within our communities. So we're super, super excited that we have that opportunity working with the Incredible 400 Years and NCI, that Neighborhood Commerce Institute. I'm excited because it's definitely opened up some doors, some opportunities to work together. And again, as a community, we need to collaborate even more. All of us have something valuable to bring to the table, and we won't know that unless we begin to start meshing and touching again within our small businesses, our corporations. Let us work together to bring about change in a collective way where we've got leadership to help guide that. So not only become an ambassador, that ambassador then connects you with NCI and in the Incredible 400 Years and the mission there to write a new history for our young people, for our society, for people all around the world to recognize what we have done as a people, corporately and individually. So thank you once again, Mr. Cannon, Dr. Tatum,
yes.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If I could say what's really valuable about what she's saying is, and that way you can start right now, many of us have stories and things that have happened to us that we could put in a how-to format, like how to survive when the police is acting like knuckleheads, how to teach your young people to. I mean, there's so many how-to ways we can position our life in and then write a book on that story. Well, we have good people like Dr. Tatum that if you want to do your own radio show, powerful like Dr. Lee has done, then Dr. Tatum, reach out to him. We'll facilitate you through with your ideal, help you get you up on the air, and help your voice get out there as well. If you want to get in writing and write your book, we utilize Amazon system. Annetta will take all those inquiries. So what we're looking for is your bullet ideals of your projects, of your shows that you want to do. So when you come to that website, put those bullet ideals, not the whole ideal, but the bullet point ideal of what you want to do, the bullet point ideal of your book. Don't upload your book ideal if it's not done yet. We just want the bullet point of what you want to do in print, and we want to help facilitate. And that's how you can begin. We can begin to work with each other right now during this pandemic shutdown. Let's write together, y'all. Let's put some subjects on the table, and let's come back ready to publish and push it out there together. None of us is good as all of us, but what we cannot do alone, y'all, we can do it together. Dr. Tatum, I appreciate it, sir.
And before I close out, and thank you so much for that, I wanted to hand this over so that you will now be able to get a little bit more information from the CEO from the Neighborhood Commerce Institute, which is, again, one of our partners with the Incredible400years.com. And I'm going to hand this over now. Before I think we hand it to our host, Dr. Lee, I want to just take this time to introduce to you the CEO and the person that makes sure that every community will be able to get the necessary tools to operate within their entrepreneurial rights and businesses. So I want to introduce to you Jason Williams. Are you there?
Yep. Thank you, Annetta, for the great introduction. Thank you, Mr. Cannon, for setting this platform up. Dr. Tatum, for just being who you are and helping us push this forward. As Annetta mentioned, I'm Jason Williams, the CEO of Neighborhood Commerce Institute, under Dr. Marion Lee, where we're doing some great things. The mission here at Neighborhood Commerce Institute is pretty much to help our people succeed economically, and our vision is optimal financial success. Some of the things that we're looking at doing is elevating, different companies' mission and vision for that organization and for that community. One of the things that we're really trying to drive forward is we want to engage with small businesses and entrepreneurs all over the country and help them succeed and help them be successful in what they do. Some of the things that Neighborhood Commerce is going to provide for you, comprehensive planning and development. We want to come in and implement your projects that you may have, sort of like what Dr. Cannon was mentioning about these bullet points. We can help you pull together those ideas and partner you with some other like-minded organizations and businesses and people in the community to actually get that off and implement that actual plan and go out and change lives. We create business plans. We're good at creating partnerships or acquisitions, marketing plans, sales plans, public relations. When we're ready to kick something off, we have the media there for you, news outlets or whatnot, social media. We have training plans as far as once we take a small business and want to boost their capacity, we can actually make plans so your business can thrive and you can build different employees and expand your business. And then also we take care of legalities like your trademarks, your non-disclosures, and contract reviews. And lastly, we can find funding. What we're doing is we're pooling together all of these businesses to where we have a portfolio that rivals other larger companies, and together we can go in these communities and set up different projects, whether it's food, whether it's education, whether it's social justice, whether it's economic development, job development, and we can go and we can create these same situations and scenarios, different communities, and continue to build our portfolios.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I guess I'll introduce Dr. Lee.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I am so happy to be here. I am so very, very appreciative to everyone. I want to thank you, Mr. Cannon, for your vision, on the 400 years of African American history, and that commission and how you have provided this platform, and the front and the center of community development, and just everything that you're doing is just a great blessing. And I thank you, appreciate you so very much for the inspiration. I want to say to our listeners right now that Mr. Cannon, this program is part of the James Cannon School of Radio Broadcasting, and we plan for this to be the #1 school for radio broadcasting as well as TV broadcasting, talk shows, and who knows where it's going to go to. But we just thank God and thank Mr. Cannon for this vision. And so this whole operation that we're doing here, we're developing and this school for those who want to have their own radio shows and talk shows, and all the way from the children all the way up. We're working on right now, and sometime during the month of June, probably the latter part, we've already started reaching out, and we'll have a formal announcement and invitation soon for 8, 9, 10-year-olds. We're going to start with 8, 9, 10-year-olds who want to do a talk show like this. And so we're collaborating that right now. And it's going to go from the 8, 9, and 10 to 11 and 12, 13, 14, all the way up to 17. And so we're really excited what we're going to be doing as far as, educating and helping in our Black community. I also thank Dr. Tatum. He's always here, always an inspiration. Thank you, Annetta, for your wonderful, beautiful description of the 400 years. And Jason is doing so much for us. I appreciate Jason so much as our CEO and leader. Today I do want to acknowledge we have students. Everybody's a student. I'm a student, okay, for this broadcasting. And so behind the scenes, we have technician Christian Hill, who is, they're all like 19, 20, 21, that age bracket, university student. Christian is a student at at IU University, Indiana University. Then we have Monte Caldwell, who is out of North Carolina and is also a student. We have Isaac Poole, who's also a student. So we're growing. We're growing. And we have an engineer who's also kind of been helping us. She was not going to want to be mentioned because she's my daughter. But I want to also thank Cherie for just being here to help us and provide feedback. So we thank you. Neighborhood Commerce Institute is here about business. We're here about building entrepreneurs, creating your dream the way that you want it to be. We're about collaborations and bringing, as Jason said earlier, we're about bringing businesses together to operate, to merge and to operate collaboratively in order to be more effective in the community, to bring dynamic projects and programs. And our guests tonight, I'm excited about it. I just love them so very much, and what they're doing in the area of health and nutrition, and they're a prime example of what neighborhood commerce is about. I can't say we had anything to do with it when I met them. They were already formulated, and but they're exact what we're about, and about bringing businesses together, bringing all your ideas together under one umbrella, and under one umbrella. So we have the Edward Williams. It's the name of the organization, the business, is Health by Any Means Necessary. And so we have Tiffany R Davis, BS, ACFC, BS in business, and holds a BS in nutrition. She's the owner of Feed Your Inner Chef, FYI Chef, certified in nutrition and health, and soon to be a certified culinary educator. So she's here tonight. She's one of the partners in the Health by Any Means Necessary. She's a lover of the community, which is why Feed Your Inner Chef was birthed in 2017. So I could say a whole lot, but I want Tiffany, I'd like for you to come on and say hello and share just a little bit more about yourself. And just a little, then we're going to introduce your partners, and we're going to go from there into this powerful conversation that we're ready to embark upon. Tiffany.
Yes. Hey, everyone. How are y'all?
Beautiful.
Be good.
Good. Glad to have you.
So, excuse me?
Glad to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be on. And I know both Edward and Kathleen are on as well. But just to give you a little bit of additional information, kind of besides what you've already shared. I have actually started working within the community back in 2013, actually, as a health and heritage ambassador with a nonprofit organization. And in that capacity, I facilitated whole food cooking demos centered around African diaspora foods and ingredients. So there were recipes, a curriculum, and then just overall information just about the importance of African Americans and why we should eat foods that's more native to the motherland, Africa. And then from there, as you stated, I started doing my own business, Feed Your Inner Chef, because I really want to empower people to get in the kitchen and really cook for themselves. Now I'm partnering with Health by Any Means Necessary with Edward and Kathleen in the 28-day Intermittent Fasting Challenge.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
I had a question. did she have a book? Did you say you had a book, and that's the title of your book?
No, I was saying that in reference to the nonprofit organization I was working with. They had an actual curriculum within their organization.
But you said your last branding project that you put together, what was the name of it again?
Oh, this is the one that I have in collaboration with Health by Any Means Necessary, which is Edward's business, and also Kathleen, which is Melanin Rich Wellness, the 28-day intermittent fasting program.
Okay, beautiful.
Thank you. So what Tiffany has done, and she has 4. Did you explain about your producing the healthy snacks? She produces healthy snacks, food boxes, meal plans, interactive cooking classes, and then the intermittent fasting challenges, along with her partner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah,
okay. Well,
so
thank
I
you.
think that's pretty awesome. And she's also been featured on the cover of Flammy magazine.
Yes.
And has performed several live cooking demos at their Saturday Market Live in Greenville. And so this is her life. This is what she's about, helping us to eat well. So to Kathleen Richardson is the founder of Melanin Rich Wellness Inc., which is a holistic, health-centered company dedicated to optimizing the physical, mental, and spiritual health of the Black community through African holistic health and Black radicalism. She is a certified holistic nutritionist, certified nutrition and wellness consultant, certified vaginal steam facilitator, Yin Yoga Instructor, and also intermittent fasting specialist and herbalist. She is a contributing columnist for the Health Matters section of the Challenger newspaper and author of the books Clean Eating from the Heart and Confessions of an Emotional Eater, 7 Ways to Gain Freedom Over Your Fork. Kathleen, welcome. Thank you so much for coming tonight, for joining us. And why don't you come in and tell us a little bit more about yourself? And I also want to mention that she has, several degrees in sociology, BS in business administration, and so forth. Masters soon in health services administration. I'm so happy to have these powerful women in my life, and they have been in my life through the Health by Any Means Necessary, 28-day challenges, the fasting challenges, and I am grateful. So, Kathleen, welcome. Let's share a little bit more about you.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everybody. Hi, Eddie. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, everyone. Just a little bit about myself or my business is that I just want our community to start to sever ties with, Western modern medicine, with Eurocentric ways of thinking, being, living, and get more to our roots, our DNA, and live a more African-centered life, which is so simple, which is just like fasting and getting out in the sun, drinking fresh, clean water, eating foods that are from the earth, and connecting to our inherent greatness and power and strength as Black people. And that's just my mission. It's my assignment. It's what I was placed on this earth to do. And so Dr. John Henrik Clarke said, take what you do best and do it for your people. And so that's what I'm doing. And I just love the fact that I get to do that with like-minded individuals like Eddie and Tiffany. It's such a blessing to have a tribe to do this with.
Well, and thank you so very much, and definitely a blessing to have a tribe to do it with. And we don't just, we're not just here to entertain you, but we're here to help us. We're here to help you, to help me. Everything that goes on is, also helps me tremendously. And I believe that we were given and provided, what to eat historically, biblically, what's good for us. And so that's what we're here about. And for our optimal health, I'm not so much convinced that the regular diet, things that we go to the store and buy ready-made, and I grew up primarily on beans and greens and potatoes and rice. Very, very little meat was in our house. Very little meat. It was like really a treat to have any type of meat in the house. The only meat that we would have and really considered meat would be the chickens. My dad would go out, to his buddies out in the country to their farms and bring home live chickens and would wring their necks, and we'd watch him feather them and all of that stuff. But that's how we grew up. That's how I grew up eating. And we always had a garden. We always had a garden. And I know in some states it's illegal to have a garden in your yard. Fine and ticketed, which is absolutely ridiculous. This is what they've done to control what we eat in the food industry and to kill us, pretty much, because the foods that we go and buy in the store, whether you're buying fruit, veggies, or you're thinking you're getting something good for your body, but you're getting pesticides, you're getting fertilizers, and who knows, bleach in your food, or because a lot of food is washed in Clorox bleach, believe it or not. And I can't see that being healthy for my body. So I'm excited. I'm excited about being a part, meeting this team and working with them. I'm going to ask Edward Williams now, who is, by the way, everybody on the line, our guests are from the state of Florida, and so we're really excited. Edward Williams is a licensed, practicing physician assistant and a fitness nutrition coach, founder and creator of Health by Any Means Necessary, and the author of Done with Diabetes. Health by Any Means Necessary is a business dedicated to the radical health improvement of our Black community. Okay, so I'd like Edward Williams now to take the platform. Hello, Edward. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna go back to Kathleen and to Kathleen. We are not finding Edward. I know he is.
Before, as we look for Edward,
pardon me?
Can I ask a question as we look for Edward to come on? Edward, if you called in from a different number, hit 1 on your phone so that it'll light up and we know that's you, and we'll bring you right in. How important is fasting as we look at, and maybe we'll get into that. I don't want to get into it prematurely. But as a person fast for clarity, you know how we have to make important decisions in life and big decisions, and everybody wants to go get advice from everybody else. How important is fasting as you incorporate? I know a part of your program is fasting. I'm just curious, do you recommend that people should fast before they make big decisions, before they take jobs? And what's your recommendation?
This is Kathleen, and yes, absolutely. So food is more than just calories and grams of carbs and fat and protein. Food is actually information. So it signals to your body, it signals to your mind, it also signals to your soul as well. So when we are eating food that is processed, highly processed, we're taking in all that negative information from that food. And so when you're fasting, you don't have any information coming in at all from any source outside of yourself. And as we know, our soul is our truest oracle. We know what we know. It's just that we're so disconnected from ourselves and we're so disconnected from the source because we are inundated with all these processed foods and these additives and GMOs and sugars and everything else. So but when you're fasting, you have this clarity. You are able to see things as they truly are, and you're able to make better decisions. I always do my best work. I'm most productive when I'm fasting. If I'm going through like difficult times.
Do you subscribe to the three food? Okay, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask you, in your teaching, do you subscribe to breakfast, lunch, and dinner as far as intake of food for clarity and the 4 food groups that they taught us? I know you mentioned about changing the way we eat or what we've been taught, and a lot of times that is so difficult for folk to do because we've been so ingrained that we got to eat 3 times a day and that you got to have these 4 food groups. I'm just curious in re-educating, what do you share there?
Can I jump in?
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wanted to jump in here because Edward Williams is live now, and beautiful. Yeah, he's live now, and so we're going to get this conversation. You're about to get every question answered, Mr. Cannon. Absolutely, every single one. Edward, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
We
yes,
can.
Sir.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, no problem. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me here tonight. Hello to everyone, Kathleen, Tiffany. So, yes, my name is Edward Williams. I'm the founder and creator of Health by Any Means Necessary. Our mission is to aggressively inspire and radically improve the health conditions of our community by any means necessary. As far as the question that was asked, dealing with fasting before any types of ceremonies or making any big decisions. So one of the things we need to understand about fasting is that is African 101. That is African holistic way of life 101. I understand right now fasting is kind of a fad. You know, we have a OMAD, 1 meal a day, intermittent fasting, but fasting was always just a way of life. And yes, fasting was also used before a big ceremony, before you made a commitment to a woman or a man and you actually had a transfer of wealth. Fasting was something that was done for at least 3 days just to make sure that you had the mental clarity and that you understood that what you were doing and what the impact that it was going to have on yourself and your family. So fasting was always done. Fasting was done during the periods where someone was sick or they were dealing with something and healing was needed. And as far as your question about recommending breakfast and lunch and dinner, so one of the things that, you know, we teach in our challenge, the Fast Life 28-Day Challenge, is that we have to relearn and reassess many of these things that we hold on to. One of the biggest detriments to African Americans in this country is that we believe in the white narrative. We believe in the Eurocentric narrative, and that has brought us nothing but harm since our time in inception here. And so when it comes to many of our health advice, we are essentially picking up and trying to do the best with the straps that we have, and that's been passed down to us from our ancestors, the ancestors that were enslaved in this country. The idea of breakfast and the idea of lunch and dinner and the idea of eating 3 to 6 times a day is specifically coming from the Eurocentric standpoint. Breakfast essentially is just when you break your fast. that can come at any time of the day. That can come at 8 in the morning. It can come at noon. It can come at 1 p.m. It can come at 4 p.m.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
This idea that you have to eat first thing in the morning. A gentleman's name who came up with that, he was actually a marketer back in the 60s, I believe. I can get his name. It's like Edward something. But he was friends with Kellogg's. And you have to follow the money when it comes to these folks. You have to follow the money. And so essentially they started this marketing campaign around eating breakfast, around breakfast food. And that's when you saw like this boom of breakfast cereals and oatmeals. And so essentially eating first thing in the morning became a staple for the American lifestyle. But as far as when we traditionally ate breakfast, when we were back in our natural African minds, breakfast was not something that took place as soon as you woke up, because we had things to take care of. We had purpose. We had duties. We had things that need to be done. So our first meal would come later in the day. And also, if most people ask themselves a question in the morning, ask themselves the question if they're truly hungry, most people will realize that they're not really hungry. And so if you're eating when you're not hungry and you're doing this day in and day out, what is taking place, and where is that food going? Is that food being used, or is it being stored? And so naturally, we all have a circadian rhythm. We all have this internal clock in us that lets us know when our body is ready to take in food, to take in those nutrients and the information. And so essentially what we've done unknowingly is we've outsourced our nutrition, we've outsourced our health, and we've outsourced all of these things to the very people who have shown us time after time that they just don't like us like that. And so that's why, in this challenge we teach that we have to reassess every single little thing that has been given to us by the system.
Thank you so much. So what I'd like for you guys to do, you work together. I'd just like for you to take over this conversation and be yourself. Talk about what you do, amongst the three of you, and we'll have questions. But just go ahead, Edward, with what you do. Thank you. Your message, your gospel.
Right. So our message and gospel, it really is simple, and it's nothing new at all. Pretty much everything we promote and push in the community is something that is very old. We're talking about fasting. We're talking about getting adequate sleep. We're talking about drinking water. We're talking about moving every day. We're talking about eating whole foods. We're talking about deep breathing and mental clarity or stress relief. We're talking about sunlight. And none of these things are brand new. Like, we're not creating anything new, but what we have done, I'm sure we're all familiar with Sankofa. What we have done is that we understood the situation that we are in as Africans and Americans. We understood that we cannot continue to use this information that's been given to us by those who have historically oppressed us and think that we're going to come out the other end winning. And so what we did is we now push that aside and we go back to our ancestors. Of course, we started with a lot of our African healers here in this country, such as Malaya Africa, Dr. Sabi, Queen of Four, and so many more. But then also we still continue to do a lot of the research to really look back and see what they're doing. And it was one study particularly, and this is why Tiffany plays such a huge role. We all play such a huge role, but everybody has their area, their aspect that they're shining. And there was one study that I went across that just blew my mind. And essentially, this is a study that took place for about 2 weeks with a family up north. Maybe it's New Jersey, maybe it's New York, and an African family on the west coast of Africa. And essentially, what they did was they swapped diets for 2 weeks. Now, the traditional African diet in Africa on the west coast is usually, I don't know what it is now, but during this study, it was a high fibrous diet, which is natural for us, versus the diet that they were eating up north, which is, processed food, standard American diet, nutritional colonized. And within 2 weeks, they showed a radical increase in the biomarkers for colon cancer and the people from Africa who started eating the processed foods, and they saw a dramatic decrease in colon cancer markers in the Americans, African Americans, who started eating the Western African way of life. And so, as you know, that's Tiffany's work. That's her life's work. Is talking about African diaspora foods. Also coming with the actual recipes and the ingredients and everything that goes along with it, how to make it. And so that's why she's so important, because we have to start to regain much of our mind. And so she plays a huge part in that. But also, once again, I talked about how one of the biggest detriments for us is that we are so committed to this white narrative. And if you know anything about Kathleen, married with Dr. Lee, which I'm sure you do, you understand that she helps you break that belief and that commitment in that white narrative. And she does it in a beautiful way. You hear how strong she speaks, but she really helps you rearrange and move you back closer to that Afrocentric way of life. Dr. Melissa Kesati over at Temple University, he talks about being dislocated. And for most of us in America, African Americans, we are dislocated. We are pretty much seeing ourselves on the periphery of a Eurocentric paradigm, whereas we should see ourselves as the actual center, as the actual object in the actual Afrocentric paradigm. And when this takes place, we kind of think that we're just, extras in a movie versus being the main characters. And so Kathleen helps you swap that. She helps you get back into your right mind. And so when you stand back and you look at the whole entire team, I mean, it's a match made in heaven. It's a beautiful team. And that's why this challenge is so powerful, because we hit certain things in a different way, but in a holistic way as well.
Thank you, Edward. Edward, you have what is it? Diabetes or diabetes?
Done with diabetes, yes.
Yes, and I ordered that book. That's a great book. Thank God I don't have diabetes. We have family members. I know people who are borderline and who are diabetic, and I know that the blood sugar and the immune system are things that you talk about all the time, and it's been quite enlightening to me, even as a very healthy person with a powerful, I consider, strong immune system so far. But I've learned a lot more in how to allow my body to its immune system to work even better for me. And I'd like for you to expound a bit on that. Also, keeping in mind, and I know we have questions on the line, and I want you to continue to hold. We're going to get to your questions real soon. So just hold on. So I'd like for you to expound, some on that. And I've never been a proponent of immunizations. And so with the COVID-19 right now, here that we're living in this pandemic that we haven't seen since the 1918, such a health crisis, that is a pandemic since 1918, with the Spanish flu, killing so many people. I'd like for you to touch upon what you believe is going on and how we can help ourselves and our communities, and then also your partners coming in, and you guys can just pass the subject around amongst yourselves, and you don't have to wait on me to call on you. So go ahead, Edward.
Yes. So when you have high blood sugar, insulin resistance is going to be the foundation of that. This is essentially when the cells have made an intelligent decision to downregulate the insulin receptors on your cells. They're doing this for one or two reasons, but for most people it's because the cells are already at full capacity with glucose. Therefore, instead of forcing the sugar into the cells are going to make the intelligent decision to downregulate the insulin receptors, increasing the blood sugar in the bloodstream in the hopes that the person would not have another meal in the next 2 to 3 hours, which if you are getting advice from the medical association, like everybody else is, you will be eating the next 2 to 3 hours or 6 times a day. So when that blood sugar starts to increase, it's something we call osmolarity. The pressure that is outside versus what is inside is going to start a water pulling process. Essentially, you're going to start to have those cells dehydrated. Not only that, you're also going to have that increase in the actual blood sugar. The reason why your body is pulling that water from out the cells is because the viscosity of the blood is too thick. So viscosity is just thickness. So what you're going to have is you're going to have blood. If you compare water to syrup, you're going to have an increase in viscosity when you have high blood sugar. Now, with that being said, we understand that the blood's job is to transfer nutrients and transfer oxygen and transfer the needs around to the body, to the cells. This includes the immune parts as well too. We're talking about the white blood cells, the phagocytes. All of the immune properties are also being transferred in that cell. And so, when your body has a potential breach in its parameters, whether it be the skin, a cut, trauma, or a potential threat, a virus, a bacteria, your body needs to mobilize that blood, and it needs to mobilize the parts of the immune system to that area as fast as it can. However, when your body is compromised, or when your blood flow is compromised, in the case of like if you're diabetic, your mobilization, your response is going to be slower versus someone who has the right amount of blood sugar, or they have low blood sugar. They're not diabetic. They're not insulin resistant. And so essentially, your response, your military, is not going to be as ready. They're not going to have the tools. They're not going to have the weapons that they need to fight off this invader. And so, yes, that plays a part as far as why we're seeing so many African Americans, a lot of African Americans being affected by this condition. But also, there's a huge part of this COVID-19 that's starting to be spoken about. When it comes to vitamin D deficiency, and we need to understand that vitamin D is not a vitamin; it is a hormone. It's a hormone. It starts off as a vitamin, something that we get from the sunlight. Our kidneys will then activate it into actual hormone. But we need to understand that vitamin D receptor, there's not many hormones in our bodies that has a receptor on every single cell. Vitamin D is one of those hormones that has a receptor on essentially every single cell. This means that every single cell has a need for vitamin D. When we look at things like instincts, when a baby is first born into this world, if you put your pinky next to the baby's mouth, the baby's going to automatically start trying to suck on your finger. If you splash water in the baby's face, the baby's going to automatically close his eye and gasp for breath or hold his breath. If you stand the baby up and put his feet close to the floor, the baby's going to start walking. These are all things that are embedded into that baby's DNA. The baby didn't learn this from you. When taught the baby just knows that instinctually this is something that it should respond and do. Well, that DNA is inside of the cell of all of our cells. All of our cells have that DNA. Upon stimulus on any cell, depending on the type of cell that it is, your cell will now try to access the DNA to learn how to respond to that stimulus and then take action. Hormone D is what allows you to access that information, to access that DNA. So yes, I am saying that hormone D, vitamin D, is the key to accessing the information inside of your cell. So if you have a pancreatic cell that should be secreting insulin, but you're low on vitamin D, this is going to cause a huge issue for your pancreas because it doesn't have the complete information that it needs to actually act upon on that stimulus. The same thing with your heart cell, the same thing with your liver, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Also, your body understands how to release certain things in your body to fight off viruses as well as infections. So, you asked about the coronavirus, the virus COVID-19, and you asked my opinion or my take on it, and this is part that I tend to stay away from because I'm one of those Negroes who I never really believe the official story. And the reason I never believe the official story is because the official story has never worked out for us. I need for someone to name a time where the official story has worked out for African Americans. Africa was a dark planet. People were savages. That's the official story. African Americans, smaller brains, they're not as smart, make them slaves. That's the official story. They're indentured servants. They're not really slaves. We treat them good. We give them a house. That's the official story. So we can play the game all day long. But what I will tell you is that I have not seen a time where the official story works out for us. So when we look at this crisis right now, there's several things that caught me off guard, that raised a red flag right off the top. I just not sure why the response was in a way where this was not a virus. We've seen viruses. This world's been dealing with viruses for thousands and thousands of years. And then, as soon as this talk came up, the talk about vaccines popped up right behind it. And it was almost as if we would not have an immune response to it. So they were talking so quickly about getting the vaccines before dealing with it the way the human has always dealt with viruses, which is the immune system. And so because the story was moving so fast and because there were certain key players that have a horrible record, you got to check Fauci's record. You have to check Bill Gates' record. You have to check these folks' records. I know people are, infatuated and, Trump does a very good job of getting a lot of attention, but we have to understand how warfare works. And so when you look at Fauci and you hear him talking, you check his record. And you look at Bill Gates, you hear him talking, and you check his record. And you see who they're linked up with, and you see how these people have been moving and been promoting, population control and forced vaccination for decades. Like, this is their life work. I don't think I want anything from them. I know I don't want anything from them. So as far as what we're doing over here, we're not doing that. We're not going with the official story. Now, I always tell people, when it comes to vaccines, at the end of the day, that is your life, that is your body. You have to make for yourself. However, what I will do is provide you with a different perspective possibly, and some information that you should go look into and read and come up with an intelligent decision, because you never want to be in a situation where you're just doing or not doing something just because so-and-so said it. You need to actually have that conviction. And so now, because of the phase that we're in right now, this whole virus thing, myself along with someone else, a professor, we'll be doing a collaboration talking more about, this vaccine, and Bill Gates and Fauci and, a lot of these key players that keep popping up and who they truly are. And then from there, you can make a decision for yourself. But what I would say is that the mask and if you understand how a vaccine works, you understand that, they're trying to stimulate immune response with a part of the virus. If you understand how natural immunity works, it works the same way. Now, I completely get it. There's a section of the population that needs to be protected. There's a segment of the population that needs to stay away from it because of, we've seen who's being hit the hardest as far as the age group with coronavirus. And so I'm very, I completely get that part, and I agree that we should do our best to keep them away from it and save them and take care of them as much as possible. But a lot of this other stuff, it looks like they're doing their best not to let a crisis go to waste.
Thank you, Edward. We have quite a few questions on the line, so I'm going to ask the technicians to open up the questions. And I want to ask that please just ask your question, and so we want to be mindful of everybody else on the line. Also, I want to give you a phone number just in case you're holding a long time and you're not getting your question acknowledged. Please text us at 984-244-0703. Again, that number is 984-244-0703. So will someone open up the line or get our first question?
Yes. How are you all this evening?
Good.
Thank
Doing
you.
good.
Very, very good. This is Shelley Mancion. I do have several questions. for you, because one thing I heard was making intelligent decisions about your body. And so my question would be, is it dangerous to fast? Now, I come in with this intro for myself, and I hear a lot of people say that I hear a lot of people talking, but I don't see them outside jogging, okay? I run every day for hours. I'm 43 years old. I have 6 kids, 2 grandkids, and people think I'm like 20. When they ask me what my secrets are, I say God. But honestly, I exercise. And when I tell people, well, it's exercise, they shun down. They rather hear I've gone under some massive surgery or something like that. I've had a clean tummy tuck maybe 16, 17 years ago, and I continue to maintain it. And I work really hard. Fasting has never really been my thing. I think I just naturally do it. After I run for a long period, several hours, my abs are tight, and I really don't want to really eat as much as I probably would have. There's not a lot of African American women outside at all, men neither, and it does become a tearful moment. My mother passing of cancer a few years ago, and I'm running, and I see no one of culture. I see no one, to be honest with you. I might see people jogging with their dogs. So my question once again to you, because I would love to round it out and tell folks some of my secrets internally, and I might have been fasting and really not know it. And now with the years, my body's contoured. So my question would be to you, and the show is lovely, of course. It's been a beautiful night. Is it dangerous to fast? And then when you do begin to fast or you suggest someone fast, how do you walk them through these steps to where they're not hurting themselves? This is Shelly Mancion, this is Nick Cannon's cousin. Thank you, Mr. Cannon, for having me on the show.
Okay, thank you so very much. So let's, Edward, please. Do you want to address that?
Yes. Actually, Kathleen is going to address this one. Kathleen, you on?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, I'm on. And then Eddie, you can chime in if I miss something. I heard you mention that you run, you exercise every day, and is it dangerous? And it's not dangerous. I run, I lift heavy weights on a daily basis, and I fast a minimum of 16 hours every day. So it's really not dangerous at all. It's actually healthier and more beneficial, and you get more out of your workout when you are fasting. Now, for someone who is just starting off fasting, of course, we're not going to recommend if you are eating 6 times a day, every 2 hours, and then you just automatically are going to start fasting and then go out and run 3-4 miles in 70-degree weather, and you may not have had enough water. That's not the way to go. So for someone who is just starting off fasting, you want to gradually work yourself into it. And in our fasting program, we have protocols. So there's 5 different protocols. And for certain individuals who are on medications, who have certain contraindications, we start them off with protocol 1, which is just 3 meals a day, no snacking in between meals, and it's all whole foods. And then we have protocol 2, which starts at 16 hours. And so we are encouraging our participants to start off, and then as their body gets used to this new way of life and it gets used to the healing process and they go through the so-called healing crisis that occurs when you're fasting, they can gradually increase. And I've gone running during a 20-hour fast, doing a 24-hour fast, and I've been fine. So it's something that is not dangerous at all if you do it the right way and if you gradually introduce your body to this new way of life. Eddie, anything else?
Yes, so I agree with everything Kathleen just said. And, I'm notoriously, I guess, known to talk about medications and how safe and effective medications are. And so people have now started asking me about, fasting as far as it being safe. And so, where I'm from, we call it keeping that same energy. And so if I'm going to talk about, medications like hydrochlorothiazide, how safe is that? Statins, how safe is that? Metoprolol, how safe is that? All these medications, they all have side effects, but people take them every single day religiously without missing a dosage. Some people miss a dosage, but for the most part, people take these medications. People ingest these chemicals and really have no idea how they work on their body. And I would tell you that for the most part, they're not as safe as you think they are. And so let's keep the same energy when it comes to intermittent fasting. Is intermittent fasting or fasting in general, is that safe? And I would definitely say 100% yes. Now, of course, I don't recommend fasting for women who are for pregnant women or children. Not that they can't do it, but that's just not our lane specifically. Now, there are people who do protocols for women who are pregnant and for children, but that's just not my lane, so I can't speak on that. But when it comes to your average adult, absolutely. You need to understand, once again, with these medications are brand new. They're just created in labs, a couple of years ago. They've been tested for 90 days, and then they were placed out to the public, and, they're waiting to see what type of side effects happen. When it comes to fasting has literally been practiced for thousands and thousands of years by billions and billions of people safely. Now, as far as there's so many benefits. I mean, me personally, and also Kathleen and Tiffany as well, too, within our group and also with my own personal patients, we have had patients reverse type 2 diabetes, get off of blood pressure medications, lose 50-plus pounds. These are people who have adopted this as their own lifestyle. And so there's so many benefits. We're talking about memory, clarity. The benefits from fasting goes on and on and on. Now, also, as far as being safe, once again, the paradigm shifts. If fasting is not safe, then what is the norm? And so just so I can kind of define what fasting is is essentially abstaining from food for a certain amount of time. Every night you go to sleep, you're fasting. If you go to bed at 8 and you wake up at 8, you just fasted for 12 hours. Nothing happened to you. Your body is intelligent. Your body is self-regulating, self-repairing, and self-healing. It knows what to do during those times. This is why we have fat storage. This is why we have glucose or glycogen stored in our liver. Our bodies knows exactly what to do. It knows how to be resourceful. Our bodies are built. And matter of fact, when you go down the list of benefits of fasting, it is almost as if our body wants us, which I agree, it wants us to fast. When we talk about something called brain-derived neurotropic factor, which is, they call it brain fertilizer. This is what causes the clarity. This is what causes the increase in focus. This is also what they see a strong correlation with reversing some of the effects of dementia and Alzheimer's. So as far as what is normal versus what is abnormal, are we considering the 6 small meals to be normal? Are we considering the 3 meals to be normal? What are we considering to be normal? Because if we go back to our traditional cultures, once again, eating your first meal at noon or 2 o'clock or, later in the day was the norm. You had cultures and societies and tribes out there that would eat once or twice a day. Outside of that, once or twice a day, that is fasting. So sometimes people think that fasting we're talking about is like 28 days of doing 24 hours fast, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about purposely walking a person through 16-plus hours of fasting, sometimes 18-plus, sometimes 24, and the list goes on and on and on. Now, we never just let people run out there and start fasting. Dr. Lee, you've been through our program multiple times. We definitely appreciate your support. And you know that we have an assessment. We have an initial assessment. Before we can go off and advise you on how to do this program, we need to know a little bit about you, because this program may not be for you. And so we're not going to allow someone who the program, we know for sure the program is not for to go forward with the program. But also we get your medications, we get your health history, and we also tell you to speak with your healthcare provider, your doctor, and let them know that you are doing it. So as far as is it safe, yes, it's safe. It also gets you off medications, which these medications, for the most part, have not been shown to be safe and effective, especially when they are combined with blood pressure and diabetes medication or statin medication. So, yes, it's safe. We should be questioning these medications.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, Everett, what you're saying. Okay, go ahead.
And I appreciate it so much, y'all. This is such great conversation. And we as Afro-American, Negro, black folk, we've been eating a certain way all of our lives. And one of the things, and I'd like to hear from our guests, not so much from a religious standpoint, but from the standpoint of just from where they're sharing from a truth and a natural standpoint. From eating pork. Pork was given to us as a people it appears, and we love it. We eat the pork skins, we eat the feet, we eat the guts, and we've managed to make it taste very delicious, to tell you the truth. Some of the best meat that you can ever taste is some cured ham with some pineapple over the top and some, and then going to regular beef meat. We've embraced beef meat, and they say that America's favorite pastime is eating dead animals. Now, I do eat meat, so I'm asking not so much from a religious standpoint. I'm just asking for my knowledge because I'm hoping that y'all have done the true research of why shouldn't we as a people eat pork and or eat beef as well.
Well, let me say this.
Go ahead.
Tiffany.
Go ahead.
So I kind of want to piggyback a little bit off of the first question as well when the caller made the reference to exercise and looking a certain way, her age and things like that. I'm almost 50, and I've been pretty much whole food eating probably about 15, 20 years. And people ask me a lot the same type of questions because I'm not on medications. I don't have any, elevated numbers or anything like that when it comes to my blood pressure, cholesterol, that kind of thing. But what I would like to add to everything that's been said is that fasting, not only is it safe, but I wanted to add that it's about the holistic approach, which we've talked about before, that even when you're feeding, what are you eating? And that does go back to, like you said, whether it's pork or meat. Are you eating foods and how they're prepared? Are you using a lot of sodium? Are you using a lot of, like you say, meat to season your food? Are you using things that are healthy, like herbs and spices? Are you eating whole grains? Are you eating fruits and vegetables? One thing that I think is really important that I have really grabbed a hold on to with fasting is not snacking so much in between whenever it is that you do eat. So I just want to, again, just really emphasize that I know a lot of us eat meat, and most of us have grown up eating meat because I did too. And that's one thing I always want to be sensitive with people about because I think you really have to meet people where they are. We offer both vegan and non-vegan meal plans within the 28-day challenge. I'm always encouraging people to please eat more whole, real foods. Recently in the group, I was telling them I never buy meat at home, to be honest with you, and I really just started thinking about it. I just don't. The only time I'm really challenged with eating meat is usually when I'm out because then I feel like I don't really have options. But I know that most of our nutrients are found in real whole foods, meaning the fruits, the vegetables, all our fibers, all the things that our body needs in order to function properly. So, again, I still know that it's a transition. I know that people, again, have to start where they are. And when you meet them where they are, the transition becomes easier. And after a while, you won't even think about it. Like I tell people, I don't even think about it anymore. So that's just my thing.
Thank you, Tiffany. We have a question on the chat that I want to ask real quick to the panel that's been standing here for a while. So the question is, what would be your recommendation to someone who has never eaten right, never fasted, or taken any initiative to healthy living, but ready to get on the road to living and eating better? Where would this person start to prepare themselves mentally? Panel.
So the first thing that I would say to get started mentally is that this person needs to understand that birth is their health right. They are not destined to be sick. They need to understand that the thing they're trying to go towards is theirs, and it's already with them. You're not trying to go out and grab something that doesn't belong to you or it's not real. It's real. It belongs to you already. The next thing is that I would say that we now have to be realistic and practical. We now have to find something. And Dr. Lee, you know that we have those 5 habits. They now have to find something that they feel confident on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm talking about like an 8 to 9 that they can do straight for 7 days in order for them to start seeing results. Now, our habits are eating real whole foods. Our habits is movement, drinking water, breaking their fast with a green smoothie, and then fasting. In my experience with my patients and also with the members in the challenge, getting people to extend that fasting window has been one of the easiest things that would allow people to have a win. So for the brother or sister who asked the question, I would tell them to first start off with trying their best to have their last meal at 6 p.m. at night. Continue to stay up and do what you do. Try to get to bed by 10. And when you wake up in the morning, check in with yourself. Are you truly hungry? And if you're not truly hungry, then drink water and keep on going. Get ready for work. Get the kids ready. Do what you got to do. And so if you wake up at, let's say, 7 or 8 o'clock, that person would have already put in 14 hours of fasting if they stopped eating at 6 o'clock. And if they're able to push up a little bit more, now we're looking at getting 15 to 16 hours. And I just need them to focus on that consistently for 7 days, and then to come back and reassess, because we have to make sure that what we're doing is working for us. We have to also make sure that we are celebrating our victories or our wins. Another thing that they can also incorporate, because you have to be very careful about putting on too much at one time. You have to be very careful about rushing and trying to take on the world in one day. But if they can eliminate the juices and sodas that they're drinking, that's also going to be a huge win. But for some people, that's a little difficult. So where to start is the mindset. That is your right. Health is your birthright. You're not destined to be sick. And also extend your fasting period from when you wake up.
Okay, thank you. So basically, you start with what you can achieve safely for the first 7 days. And so you kind of like
right.
taking baby steps. Okay, thank
right.
you so much. She said to tell you that she likes your answer, and thank you. Okay,
You're
thank
very welcome.
you. So let's take some more questions. Tech people, if you would get a question. Next caller. I know we've got a lot of people on the line. Can you open up someone's question? Yes, take another question, please. Okay, while you're waiting. Okay, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Is there a timeline when you should stop? Is this an annual thing? Is this something you should do a monthly? How consistent should this fasting be? And also, I hear that there are possible links, maybe for the listeners, to follow. So if someone can give links out, I would love that. And it is true, we do have people that come up to us daily. Some of us elders, as you say, and they say, "Well, what are you doing? And what are your secrets?" I have no secrets. It's just God, and I'm running, and I exercise, and the sun, of course. So if there are links or things I can send folks to, any suggestions at this point, it would really help just me in my isolated situations, and it help my sisters with their diet plan without just telling them to just go into fasting. So if there are links I can send them to, I'd love to write some down, please.
Okay, you want to give your website?
This is Kathleen. So we would give them the website to the fasting challenge, TFL28.com. And I also wanted to say to the individual who typed in their question about getting started, it's going to be very important, especially if they've never embarked on a journey like this, to have the support and accountability of the group. So I would encourage them to look into the program, visit the website, and see if that's something that interests them, because it really helps when you have people behind you pushing you and supporting you and kind of showing you step by step what to do, and then also to be surrounded by people who have been where you are and can help to encourage you to keep going.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you so much.
Very well said.
And the challenge starts
Okay,
on June 15th.
Yes. Oh, and also you said how often. So me personally, I fast every day. Of course, if you're on vacation or, you know, family's in town and you may have, you know, like a breakfast together, that's more the exception than the rule. But every day my goal is, okay, at least 16 hours, and most days it's more than that. So it's something for me personally that I'm just going to continue to do forever. Just because I really...
And to add on to what Kathleen was saying, you know, as far as the sister's question about, you know, how long to fast, once again, I recommend that we have a paradigm shift where we're putting food in its proper place. So food is information. We have to let go of this idea about, you know, revving up the metabolism and food being fuel and, you know, X, Y, Z. Food is information. And we have to put it in its proper place and understand that it has a proper time, you know. And so if we're eating food at the proper time based on how we are truly, the hormonal system in our body, how we're truly feeling, are we actually hungry at that time? Or do we not get hungry until later in the day? And making sure that you have that last meal at 6 p.m., you're going to find out that what you're probably close to doing already is fasting. You know, if you're sleeping 8 hours a day, you're all fasting. You know, at night you're fasting. And we're just saying, you know, push that window up a little bit. So there is no cut time. Like, this is not something that this is not a fad. It's a lifestyle. And so that's why we're talking about making that paradigm shift. We're just living. You know, the term fasting is something that's necessary. But what we're doing is we're just living. We're putting food in its proper context. It's information. You know, just like I have a computer, I have a car. You know, like, these are just things that I use and I need, but that put them in their place. It's not something that I'm going to be thinking about all day. It's not something that I'm going to be obsessing over all day. Not saying that you are or anybody else is, but many people do. You know, many people think about food. Many people have been sold this idea that they pretty much have to worship food. You know, every 2 to 3 hours, 6 meals a day. You have to count your calories. You have to weigh your food. You have to make sure it's the size of your hand or your foot. Right? And so food has become the new oppressor because it's so difficult and confusing for people to try to get on the right path because it's all this different type of information on how to get hungry. And so what we're doing in the Fast Life Challenge is we're throwing all of that into the trash, and we're just making it simple, very simple.
Now, in the form of
we have another question.
Yeah. Collagen.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we have another question I want to open up. Okay, so we've got, is this the same caller? I'm sorry. We do want to we want to give everybody an opportunity. We got so many people holding for questions, so I really want to go to the next caller, if we can, please.
Okay.
Is she there?
Hi. I'm here. Thanks for opening up the line. My name is Candace Carey, and I'm chiming in from Miami, Florida. So I had a question about thanks. I had a question about intermittent fasting, and I guess the process of someone like myself who likes to work out during the day, and let's say I'm practicing intermittent fasting, and I go work out, and then let's say I'm experiencing fatigue the next day or the next 2 days because I've lost all my protein, amino acids, and things like that. But I don't want to eat, but I still want to function without being sluggish. Do you have any recommendations on maybe supplements or things that I could drink or take during that recovery stage?
Yes. So once again, we're going back to the paradigm shift. So I have not eaten anything before a workout since 2008 or maybe 9. Don't quote me on that. I played 2 years of football at University of South Florida. I was a running back. I walked on, did the whole ran a 4.4, team bench press on the 225. I had the highest vertical at a 46, all those things. And I did that fast. The first year I did not fast. I didn't have a fasting protocol. The second year I did. This idea that we've been sold that we are so fragile that we need certain things in order to perform. It's true. We do need storage. Our body is going to heal and repair, especially between the hours of 10 and 2 p.m. 2 a.m. at night. It is true. Our body is going to heal and repair. But as far as the actual process in doing those things, your body is resourceful enough and is anti-fragile enough to take on those daily stressors. And so when we look at people who are, when we look at our ancestors, we look at, the tribes, when they went out and did the work and did the running and they did those things out in the sun and running around, there was no, protein drink. There was no collagen. There was none of those things. And so essentially a lot of the things, and I completely understand where you're coming from because of course, like I had to eat 42,000 calories per day. I had to do the 6 formulas. I had to do all those things because I needed to get to 195 pounds before the season started. And so I know all about that. And so I once believed that as well. However, right now, people think that they don't believe that I eat one meal a day because I don't look like I eat 1 meal a day. I look like I'm doing the same diet, 4,500 calories, because of the muscle mass and XYZ. But seriously, my basic protocol is 1 meal a day for the most part. And I still lift weight. And I just had a bike ride. We did 40 miles fasting. And I'm not telling you to go out and just jump into it and do it, but this is something that your body will adapt to. And it is a better way of life as far as making your body adapt to. So if you look up fasting in HGH, if you look up fasting in protein spalling, if you look up fasting in fat burning, you're gonna read it enough to the point where you actually want to try it. And that's what I recommend for a lot of people because I understand it almost seems like it doesn't make sense to fast before a workout and be okay. And I completely get it. I used to try to do the protein window 30 minutes after workout too. I did all. But what I would tell you, sis, if you're listening still, tonight when you get off the line, look up fasting in HGH. Look up fasting and protein. Look up fasting and workout. And you're going to find people who swear by it. You're going to find people who would not do it any other way. And I think if you speak to Kathleen, she's going to tell you the same thing as far as her regimen. But, of course, I'll let her speak on that as well.
Okay. I think thanks for that information. I'll definitely look it up. I had one more question, if I may. It's about
okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks. It's about glucose levels and eating the same time a day. Does that support a healthy glucose level or prevent diabetes if you eat the same time a day?
Oh, the same time a day?
Yes, the same time though. It's if you eat like breakfast, or let's say you eat at 2, and then you eat another time at 5. Does that support a healthy glucose level or prevent diabetes if you eat the same time a day?
So I'm not sure if I'm completely clear on your question, but if you're asking, if you're asking if fasting itself will prevent type 2 diabetes, yes. If you're asking if it would prevent insulin resistance, yes. Will fasting support a healthy glucose level? Yes. Now, if you're asking if eating at a certain time of the day, it by itself will prevent type 2 diabetes, there's a lot of nuance in that because what are you eating? So if you're eating like which I know you're not, but if you're eating like a big bowl of Captain Crunch, if your diet is bad, then no, it won't. And I've seen this multiple times in real life clinics, if 2 and 5 is the only time that you're actually eating and you're fasting the rest of the time, then yeah, I've seen people make dramatic changes. Now, I don't recommend that. But just eating at a consistent time I haven't seen where that by itself actually prevents type 2 diabetes. I haven't.
Okay. Question for Tiffany. What types of foods can I start eating now to help me eat healthy but still enjoy soul food? That is from one of our listeners. I'll repeat it. What types of foods, this is for Tiffany, what types of foods can I start eating now to help me eat healthy but still enjoy soul food?
Well, I think the first thing about soul food is what we think of as soul food. And I would say typically we're probably thinking things like, fried chicken and rice and gravy and fried vegetables and maybe casseroles, sweet potatoes, that kind of thing. So I would say the first part of the answer is we're already eating it, meaning soul food is actually some of the things, again, that are actually traditionally known to be from the motherland, like sweet potatoes, like okra, and then just other tropical things like avocados and things like that. So what I would suggest is consider what your current foods are. Again, so if it is some of those things like sweet potatoes and okra, for example, stop frying them, for example. Maybe you could roast them. In addition to that, if it's a sweet potato, don't make it into a sweet potato pie. Maybe you could just, again, roast that and just put some peanut butter on it. Just try to think of inventive ways that you could, again, already eat some of the existing foods that you already love. Because, again, I tell people you have to do something that's sustainable for people when it comes to food because it has to be delicious. It has to be something that they're going to enjoy. Otherwise, I personally, the people that I've worked with, when I do my personalized meal plans, I actually talk to them and understand what foods they already like and eat and how we can flip that and make it healthier. So that's where I would start would be just to look at what you already eat, how you can prepare it differently, and even like a lot of us like rice and gravy or something like that, or rice and peas. Maybe like pinto beans or something. But again, look at the way that we're preparing it. So if you're eating processed white rice, look into getting brown rice, some other whole grains like fonio or amaranth or bulgur wheat. There's so many out there. Just pick one, see if you like it. But then also, even with, I talk about like beans, pintos. Again, let's look at how we're preparing our food. So if you're eating black-eyed peas and pinto beans and black beans, are you seasoning them with meat? Or can you throw in, as I say always, some kind of spice? Can you put cumin in it? Can you do maybe some coriander or some bay leaves? Something that's going to, again, boost that element of not only flavor, but actually, the nutrient content. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to kind of interject in here that I've gone through the program a couple of times, the 28 days, and I'm about to go on it again. But one thing that's provided that the Health by Any Means Necessary group provides is a shopping list. So when you get started, you get this. It's like a lot of different types of food that you can go and buy, including your basic meal, whether it's a vegan or regular, vegetarian or regular. I'm a vegan, and so I found a lot of different types of ingredients and food choices. So when you do that shopping list, you'll find a lot of things. I promise you, you'll find a lot of things on there that you like, and it's how you, as she said, put it together. We have another question here. How do I get children motivated to eat right and exercise? That was a question, and any one of you can answer it. How do I get children motivated to eat right and exercise?
I'll have to say that, children learn what they live, and so they're going to imitate us, and they're going to do what we do. And we have to lead by example. And I know that with my daughter, she's 8, and, over at her grandparents, she eats whatever she wants, Oreos, ice cream, juices, and she knows that mommy, you can't eat that stuff. So it's a challenge sometimes, but I found that it works if I just set some ground rules of non-negotiables, and then I'm lenient with other things. And then my non-negotiable is then, you can only drink water, or you can only eat like a fresh juices that mommy made. You can't get anything else. With me, you're not going to eat pork or red meat. Maybe with your Nana Papa, you can do that when you're there, but here you can't. And so she knows those rules exist, but I'm also lenient on some things. Like she gets her treats. She gets the things that she wants. Because I want her to see that it's a lifestyle. I'm not trying to deprive her of anything. And I also explain to her, this is why we do this. You don't want to, be sick, and you saw how your great-grandmother, how she was sick and going to the hospital. So we want to try to avoid that. So this is why we do what we do. And then just going outdoors, playing with it, making a game out of it, it becomes fun for them. So you have to be creative, and you have to be committed, and you have to kind of stick to your gun, so to speak, on certain things, and follow through, and just lead by example.
Okay, and how about teenagers in specific is what she came back with. Question, how about teenagers specifically?
Oh, teenagers specifically? That's a little bit harder because they are, they might have their own money, their own job, and they can go out and maybe go to McDonald's or Burger King. But again, I think that explaining to them, and this is where education is the key, because the more you know, and the reason why it's one thing to say, oh, do this or do that, but then explain to them, well, this is why we do this. You realize that, these flaming hot Cheetos, look at the ingredients. Can you pronounce any of them? Do you know what model sodium glutamate is? That's one of the ingredients in flaming hot Cheetos. And you can explain to them, this is what you're putting in your body. Food is fuel, and you are what you eat. And are you comfortable with becoming this that you're eating? So it's going to take more education with teenagers, and it's going to take explaining to them that who they are and the way that they're going to realize their dreams and goals is going to be contingent upon their lifestyle and how they eat and what they drink.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Do we have any more questions? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. Are you talking to me, Dr. Lee?
Yes, whomever was speaking, go ahead. Yes.
Yes, just to add on to what Kathleen said, I completely agree. Again, as far as with kids, they are definitely going to follow their parents for the most part. They're going to watch their parents. And I know it's not as easy for a lot of parents to get started on that lifestyle, and that's why we always break things down into practical steps. And so just recently, following up with a patient who her and her daughter, she made it a little challenge with her and her daughter to drink only water, so they had a big thing with drinking soda and juice, and the daughter was, gaining weight, and she was only 11 years old, and she was starting to have some issues, and the mother was also having issues as well, too, and so, pretty much told her to speak with her doctor, her daughter, and she did, and pretty much, she broke it down saying, hey, mama wants to get healthy, I got this going on, and I think, you might be heading in the same direction, so let's do this. Let's start with something simple. Let's just drink water for 7 days, and let's see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to keep on doing that, okay? Or we're going to decrease how much juice and soda we're drinking because, the doctor says it does this. But kids are going to watch you, and everybody knows that kids are going to call you out. If you are not doing something that you are telling them to do, a lot of kids will be like, well, you're not doing it. So that's one of the things we have to watch. But we have to start slow, and like Kathleen says, have those non-negotiables. And, like around here, it's juice and soda. One of the biggest things you can do for your child if they are drinking juice and soda is to get them off of juice and soda, specifically the juice, because of the high fructose corn syrup. We are now seeing a dramatic increase in type 2 diabetes in the pediatric ward, and it's hard to catch in the early stages because the high fructose corn syrup doesn't increase the glucose the way that other sugary foods does. It goes straight to the liver, and so you're not going to see that. You're not going to get that same glucose increase, but the child will start to develop fatty liver, and fatty liver plays a large part in becoming insulin resistant. Yeah.
Dr. Lee.
Okay. Yes.
Can I encourage something in there real quickly? I appreciate this very much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've got two more questions, and so, yes, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Nicky got sick, and Nick Cannon is my son. Nicky got sick in 2012 and attacked with lupus. Once he got attacked with lupus, he had to change his diet, change his eating, get on an exercise regimen. But what was helpful, and we started it, and I'd be willing to pick it back up. If you go on the internet, Nick shot maybe 10-minute 2-minute segments called the Incredible Health Challenge, and he shot them in black and white. And it's kind of like the bucket challenge and the water challenge, the ice bucket. But this challenge was whatever you needed to do to get in health, back in the shape. If it's doing push-ups for 30 days, shoot it in black and white, upload it to the internet. If it's drinking water, if it's even just going to your doctor and handling the prognosis properly for 30 days, upload it onto the internet, black and white, and y'all can call it whatever you want to call it. We can work along with you on that to help further what you're doing to get into that younger generation. Give them a challenge, 30 days, upload it to the internet. Even if it's taking your products and working with the products you have, do it for 30 days, upload it to the internet. Nick already started it. If you go on the internet and pull up the Incredible Health Hustle, see what he did, and let's follow suit. Let's continue, y'all. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and we will do that. Okay, question. Okay, someone had asked a question about supplements, so I want you to keep that in your mind, Edward. Next question is, if you feel that you're already too skinny to fast and need to eat, okay, what do you recommend? Okay, keep that question in mind. And this likely would be the final question. If you are anemic, what foods can help with regulating that issue? If you are anemic, what foods can help with regulating that issue? Okay, so before we answer those questions, we've only got 10 minutes left of the show. I want to give you I want the listeners to, our audience, to give you these websites again. Okay, the website for Tiffany is www.fyicchef.com. www.fyicchef.com. Contact phone number is 864-777-0121. Email is tiff, Tiff, at FYIchef.com. Okay. For Kathleen, her contact phone number is 716-936-2089. 716-936-2089. And her website is www.melanrinrichwellness.com. Again, www.melanrichwellness.com. That's melaninrichwellness.com. And for Edward Williams, contact phone number 07-735-6260. 407-735-6260. And support, email is support, SUPPORT, at HBAM.com. Support at HBAM.com. Website, https://HBAMN.com. Okay? https://HBAMN.com. Okay, we got 8 minutes to answer these questions. Oh, one more phone number for anything, any question regarding 400 years, regarding NCI, regarding starting your own business, regarding the guests, you can text or call 984-244-0703 for anything you may have missed or any more questions. That's 984-244-0703. Edward and your team, you are on. Questions. Again, do you remember them? If you are anemic, what foods can help with regulating that issue? Then there was a question about supplements. And if a person feels they're too skinny already for fasting, now what?
So as far
Edward
as,
laughs at me.
Can you
Go
hear me?
ahead, sir. There you lie.
Okay, yes. Yeah, so as far as anemia, one thing I'll say before I get started is that I question a lot of information about anemia, specifically with African American or pretty much African women, women of African descent. I don't know if the levels should be where they are right now. I have a lot of questions about it. But in general, when it comes to the foods, you want to go hard with the leafy greens, so spinach, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard. Also, there's, beans and seeds that you can eat, the kidney beans, the chickpeas. These are all things that have what they call non-heme iron in it that'll help out with the iron levels in your body. Black beans, peas, and then there's nuts and seeds as well, too. So those would be the things that I would recommend that you start to increase. And that'll help get you started, but also you want to figure out if you are having any type of blood loss as well, too, because usually or sometimes there's a problem with losing blood that's causing the decrease in the iron in the red blood cells.
Okay, well,
Tiffany, you want to answer that question about? You want to answer that question, Tiffany?
Leafy greens and the foods. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, about fasting and too skinny.
Oh, yeah, I was going to just say really quickly about the iron absorption. To pair it with some vitamin C, your body will tend to absorb it better when you pair those leafy greens with some type of vitamin C as well. I want to mention that, some vitamin C food, so like oranges or something like that. But I was going to say about the skinny girl thing because Edward always laughs at me, but I want to say this really quickly. I am what I always say, Skinny Girl Chronicles. I'm naturally thin. I've never had to worry about weight. And I don't say that in a way that is bragging. I say it because I get this question a lot about fasting as well. So my response to people is we're not worried about our weight so much, but what we're thinking about is being healthy. So that's always my focus, first of all. And then my next thing is I tell people lift weights. That's one thing that I'm doing now is exercising more regularly. Now I understand, everybody can't go to the gym, don't get me wrong, but you can do things at home, whether that's kettlebells, which is what I do, resistant bands, that kind of thing, and just start lifting weights and getting some bulk tone in your structure. But I just don't want people that's naturally thin to worry about, like Edward said earlier, about what you're going to eat. we can't think about food in that way because it's really an unhealthy way to think. We should be thinking about, again, what is our overall health for our body. So that's just my quick plug on that.
Thank you so much. Panel. Dr. Tatum, any questions from Dr. Tatum, from Annette, from
no
Mr.
questions
Cannon,
right now, Dr.
Okay. Mr. Cannon?
Well, I appreciate y'all because, this health issue for us is a very, very important thing. And being able to help people change their life, change their eating is just so very valuable. We want to do everything we possibly can do to help amplify your voice. We want to do everything we can do to help you start writing, and some of these bullet point subjects you can make into 50-page books, 100-page books, just to get people to think, think and eat, would you say health at any cost, or at any means? What the slogans, we can put those on books. I'm just excited about the conversation tonight. Glad to be a part, Dr. Lee, Dr. Tatum, and to the guest and to the listening audience. It's been incredible.
Mr. Cannon, we have a question directed for you that you mentioned the website. Is there something on the site to help other people with lupus? We have 90 seconds left.
To help other people with what?
You mentioned a website that Nick has regarding lupus. Is there information on that website for other people, with lupus?
It's incredible. He did 10 series. You can find it on YouTube. It's Incredible Health Hustle, and you'll see the 10 series that he did. It's in black and white. It's everything that he did, from going to the doctor. He shot it with music in the background, like a little Rocky thing. And so we're just saying, take a look at that, the Incredible Health Hustles on YouTube, and let's create your own. Let's create hundreds and thousands of people up under your organization that's doing their incredible health hustle.
Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to the listening audience. I want to say thank you so very much to our guests. You've been just fabulous. You've been wonderful. You all know that I love you so very much. And I, again, want to thank you, Mr. Cannon, Dr. Tatum, Annetta, Jason, Tech Team, my family and friends who are listening, who have been so faithful. Without you, we cannot be here. Thank you so much, and I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you all.
As I look out in the world, troubles are the same. I'm gonna fall down on my knees and call on Jesus' name. Now I'm here to testify how he brought me through. What God did for me, he'll do the same for you. Yes, he did, without a doubt. Gave me the victory. The Lord has made a way. Made a way. Yes, he did. Oh, yes, I made it through the storm. There was a time when my life was very hard. Found myself locked out in the cold.